As student, today we are going to see the poem Father Returning Home. Let us see about the poet Dilip Chitri. He was born in 1938 and died in 2009. He was a celebrated bilingual poet and translator with a remarkable work in Marathi and English. His versatile creativity extends to painting, filmmaking, and his notable contribution as a magazine's columnist. He received the prestigious Sahitya Academy Award both for poetry as well as for his well-known translation work Says Tuka, popular Abhanga's spiritual poem by Saint Tukaram. He has started translation of literary work of saints in Marathi at the age of 16. Exile, alienation, self disintegrations, and death are observed to be the major themes of his work. Let us see about the poem. About the poem is taken from Traveling in a Cage. It draws a portrait of a suburban commuter. It depicts his dull, monotonous, exhausting, and equally pitiable daily routine. It describes a forced alienation at home, which is reflected through the stale food and lack of sharing. His children refuse to share their joys and sorrows with the hard-working father, who as a result is forced to retire into solitude. This very painful loneliness is a symbol of man's isolation from the materialistic man-made world. Father returning home. See the stanza-wise explanation of the poem. My father travels on the late evening trains, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburb slides past his unseeing eyes. His shirts and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat stains with mud, and his black straps with books is falling apart. His eyes, dimmed by age, fades homeward through the humid monsoon night. In the present poem, first stanza, poet depicts that the routine life of his father, who is commuter on the local trains, as he is commutes silently as tired due to standing the trip. Poet deals the whole journey of his father as his wet clothes, muddy stained raincoat with his old bag, bursting books. His look like a old age, eyes were dimmed due to old age. Second stanza. Now I can see him getting off the train like a word drop from a long sentence. He hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway lines, enters the lane. His chapels are sticky with muds but hurrying onwards. In the second stanza, the poet depicts that he saw him getting off the trains whose words like dropped from long sentence. His look like hurries across the empty platform and railway line. He enters the lanes with his sticky and muddy footwear shuffles. Third stanza. Home again I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. He goes into the toilet to contemplate, manage man's instruments for man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink, the cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the graying hair on his wrist. In the third stanza, the poet depicts that as his fathers enter the home, drink a tea and eat a stale chapati, and then he reads a book for the redemption from loneliness. Poet deals that they were isolated from family for contemplates with estrangements. It indicates the coldness in the relationship in the family. Inside the washrooms, he ponders his life like how alone he is in this world as he was old so his hands were shaking with slightly. And it suggests us that there is no family bond. Last stanza, fourth one. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. He will now go to sleep listening to the static on the radios, dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. In the fourth stanza, poet depicts that the relationship of his father with family members. Children don't speak to him and won't share any part of their experience. He will listen to the radio and drift into sleep. So there is no warm interactions with his family. The poet clearly states that the children have refused to share any lighter moment or interactions with their father. He only dreams of his past and future as he slips into slumber. Let us see appreciation of the poem. The present poem, Father Returning Home by bilingual poet Dilip Chitri, shows us the story of lonely old man father. It means that there are there are no interaction among the family members. Home is only shelter for him and he is only a provider for them. He is lonely among his own family. It means any old man father who works hard for his family but leads a monotonous life where no one is there to take care of him. The family member seems selfish and uncaring. The poem is about a man who may be misunderstood. Poet uses poetic devices like similes, anecdotes, metaphor, etc. in informal, simple language and style. Poet depicts that how the elderly are used by their own children but neglected when they need care. So he gives us one message that we should love and respect our parents and elders in our family. Our feelings for our parents should be unconditional.